Alright everyone, welcome back again to more Umineko. Honestly guys, I gotta say I am so surprised. I talk about it a lot every now and then, but I never thought we'd reach part 150 in this game. In fact, I didn't think a game would amount to this amount of parts. You know, that's what's so surprising. And who knows how long it'll go up until, you know, like where it'll last. But besides that, I also, as of today, wanted to say thank you everyone because I've reached 100 subscribers. And that's amazing. I wasn't expecting that at all, at least not anytime soon, but here we are. So I want to thank every single one of you for joining me, for sticking around, for supporting, all the love, and so much more for that matter. But if anything, we're going to continue on and see how this goes. So most importantly again, guys, thank you. I really do appreciate it. And let's continue. Alright everyone, and we're back. And already off to a great start. Maria probably would forgive her mother eventually, after brutally murdering her countless times. Generously.
No. でけえな。今の落雷は。近いんじゃねえか？
みたいだね。いくつになっても落雷にはビクッとさせられるね。
Ballet was looking at the dark night through a crack in the curtains. Every once in a while, a pale white lightning bolt would light up the sky, and he seemed to be enjoying it.
お？なんだよ。バトラが騒がしくしてるから、マリアが起きちゃったじゃねえか。ごめんな、マリア。バトラが騒がしくて。
なんだよ、俺のせいかよ。悪いな、マリア。寝てていいぞ。おやすみな。
Maria was looking a bit hazy, with drowsy eyes. She was probably still half asleep and couldn't think straight.
おー。もういい。寝ない。
いいから寝てろって。まだ寝ぼけてるぜ。
寝ぼけてない。
なんだよ。もろに寝ぼけてるじゃねえか。寝てろ寝てろおい。
寝ぼけてない。寝ぼけてない。よせってバカバトラ。もう、寝起きのこの機嫌を悪くするなんてバカだな。寝ぼけてない。寝ぼけてないもん。
わかってるよ、マリアちゃん。寝ぼけてなんかないよ。だから落ち着いて。
寝ぼけてないもん。寝ぼけてないもん。
Maybe it was because of her dubious mental state after waking up, but Maria suddenly threw a tantrum. That's probably because this version of Maria is connected to the metaverse Maria, and she's probably seeing everything that she's going through or feeling it. I think that's what's going on. In Battler's mind, he had only been teasing her a little bit, so he was taken aback by this extreme overreaction. George hugged her and held her head, trying to calm her down, but Maria's tantrum wasn't quelled easily. Battler and Jessica were trying to push the blame on each other, saying, "It's your fault. It's your fault too."
こら、二人とも静かにして。ジェシカちゃん、ポットにまだお湯があったよね。お茶でも入れてあげてくれる？落ち着いた？マリアちゃん。
It looked like her tantrum was dying down a bit, but she was still glaring at Battler, who had made fun of her with sharp eyes.
バトラ君もふざけて言っただけなんだよ。マリアちゃんが寝ぼけてるなんて思ってないよ。だから落ち着いて。
George noticed. Maria was staring at Battler with incredible eyes. Oh god. And despite having just displayed all that emotion, she laughed in a small voice. Oh, that thing extended. Instead of a laugh, it seemed more like she was muttering while savoring. Or else counting each he. As though each time she said he, she was making something brutal happen over and over. Yeah, so she's connected to the other verse. Got you. Alright. George felt something creepy for a split second. But he wasn't able to notice the madness that, for a brief moment, peeked out of the depths of this girl's eyes. After remaining spaced out for a short period of time, Maria stopped her bizarre, quiet laugh and pushed George's arm aside, as though telling him to let go.
おう、許す。
そう。マリアちゃんは偉いな。バトラ君、マリアちゃんが許してくれたよ。仲直りして。
悪いな、からかって。許してくれ。
ほら、マリア。仲直りの印にカフェオレ作ってやったぜ。砂糖いっぱい入ってるから甘いぜ。いらない。でも許すよ。魔女だからね。
Wow. Here we go. One more time, Maria laughed in a creepy, quiet voice. But it was only for a very short time, so Battler and Jessica didn't think much of it. They decided to think that probably it had only looked that way for an instant when a flash of lightning had lit up her cheek with a pale of white light. Then, they heard the sound of a loud and hasty footsteps rushing towards them from the hall. It was already about 10:30 at night. A time that could safely be called the late at night. Late at night. Hearing footsteps like that at the time was not very peaceful. Then, along with their clearly disquieting and wild series of knocks, they heard Goda... Excuse me guys, I don't know why, I keep having something in my throat. Goda's and Kumasawa's voices. That clearly told them that this was an abnormal situation.
お子様方いらっしゃいますかいらっしゃいますかゴーダでございます
熊沢でございますよご無事でございますか皆さんどうしたものやらどうしたものやら
When George opened the door, the two of them tumbled in sopping wet. It looked like they had dashed here from the mansion without an umbrella.
どうしたんだよ、二人とも。何があったんだ？
それが親方様が旦那様が皆様方が
It was a pitch-black room. There were no windows, and by the light from the weak bulb, one could only just barely make out the state of things around them. It appeared to be an old, forgotten, dusty underground storehouse with some kind of furniture haphazardly thrown into it. However, even with just a little light, one could at least tell that it probably wasn't a storehouse, because that room was sealed off with iron bars.
ここはどこなの
Oh, so she wasn't killed off, she was just imprisoned.
わからん
Oh, and even Kraus too. Wow. Lucky them, I guess.
ここは屋敷の地下なのか食堂の真下にこんな部屋があったのか
I forgot Kinzo didn't have to kill them right away. He didn't want to speed up the twilights yet. Okay. They had been dropped into what appeared to be a pit and fallen into this room. Therefore, it would be appropriate to think that this room was directly below the dining hall. However, not even Kraus could bring himself to believe that there were pitfalls rigged in the beloved dining hall where he had enjoyed his meals for years, and that directly below was this dungeon-like room. But the ceiling, when they looked up, was made of rugged stone, and they could understand from where in that ceiling they could have fallen. No, all 5 people who had been dropped here thought the same thing. Although they had felt the sensation of being dropped into a pit, there was no way there could be pitfalls in the dining hall, nor could this dungeon-like place be directly underneath it. But in point of fact, they had fallen into this place and were locked in, and so they were confused.
あの高さから落ちて誰も怪我をしなかったのは幸運かもしれませんな。
シャノン、カノン、君たちはこんな部屋の存在は知っていたかね？
いいえ、僕たちもこのような部屋のことは存じかねます。
本当に？
本当です。本当にこの部屋知りません。
It seemed that Kirie thought that there was a good chance that despite their age, they might know of the mansion's secret tricks as servants permitted the one-winged eagle. There was a long silence as if evaluating their answer.
いや、シャノンたちが知らないのは事実だろう。何しろ、綺麗好きのシャノンだ。彼女がこの部屋を知っていたなら、もっとピカピカに磨き上げているだろう。この部屋の汚さが、君たちがこの部屋を知らないことの証だ。
That's your barometer of why you believe it's not Shannon? Okay.
今はそんなことより、これからどうするかの方が先決だと思わんかね。
その通りです。警察に、いえ、それから救急にも早く電話をしなければ。
Nanjo's words rung hollow. Obviously, 6 people had been killed in the dining hall. They had all witnessed the exact moments when the 6 had been killed. And what's more, they had been done by half destroying their heads. Anyone could tell with just a single glance that they had been dealt a fatal injury. Everyone understood that calling for an ambulance now would be completely meaningless.
ありがとう、南條先生。私たちは、伴侶がもう生きてはいないことを理解できてる。気休めでも、救急と言い添えてくれて、ありがとう。
夏日。
Once again, an oppressive silence took control of them. But Krause shook his head harshly over and over and decided just for now to forget the pain of losing his wife, and dedicate himself to figuring out where they were.
みんな、聞きたまえ。親父は、もうダメだ。口で言って、理解や説明が求められる段階に、もうない。
Nobody answered. Without any kind of discussion or mercy, 6 people had been killed in an instant. And Kinzo had so boldly proclaimed for them to become sacrifices in a 13-person murder ritual. Since they had been locked up in this place, they too would probably become the ritual's next sacrifices before long. Around this time, their eyes were becoming used to the darkness, and bit by bit, they were starting to be able to make out the dungeon's interior. What they thought was furniture haphazardly left in the dungeon turned out not to be furniture at all. They were small cages that could be used to imprison a single person, restraining tables, or were those torture racks. At any rate, it was obviously more ghastly than a mere jail cell. Since those objects were rusted and covered in thick layers of dust, there was no doubt that they had been long forgotten. Maybe you could even have called those things Kinzo's sealed and forgotten madness. However, it was this room in which they had now been locked away. Those objects weren't exactly comforting the people who were locked up, hoping to be released without harm.
とにかく、ここを抜け出そう。私たちは伴侶や友人を失い、涙を流すことに時間を費やしたいが、今はそれ以上に、子供たちの身が心配だ。
お子様方はご無事でしょうか？
This is like your 4th time doing this. You should know by now they are not safe.
祈るしかない。そういえば、熊沢さんと郷田さんはここにはいないな。
ひょっとすると、無事に逃げ延びられたのかも。
かもしれませんな。子供たちと合流しててくれれば心強いのですが。
郷田さんはいざという時頼りになるし、熊沢さんは経験豊富で落ち着いてるし。
Then clearly you haven't seen them when they went to go after the kids.
きっと、力になってくれると思います。
そうだといいがな。
Shannon and Krause smiled bitterly a little, but they quickly realized how improper that was and stopped clearing their throats.
楽観はできないよ、姉さん。僕らに続いて、もう襲われてしまってる可能性だってある。
同感ね。お父様が食堂で執行したのは、魔女の碑文の第1の番の6人殺しなんでしょ？なら、第2の番は、寄り添いし2人を引き裂け。逃げ隠れて寄り添っている郷田さんと熊沢さんが、もう殺されている可能性だって否定できないわ。
The two who are close right now, at least by the people who are alive currently, would still be Shannon and George. Because I don't think Goda and Kumasawa are in any way, shape, or form close like that. And then, or unless you want to put family connections into play, then you could just as easily use any of the cousins. Jessica, Battler, George, even Maria. But I don't think that's the case either.
きっとゲストハウスに合流してて、子供たちを守ってくれているなんて楽観。現時点では全くできないわよ。
Kiria quickly analyzed the worst case scenario. Even for her, it was heartbreaking to have lost her beloved husband. But right now, the most important thing was protecting that husband's son, along with the other children from becoming sacrifices to the insane family head. Also, as brave and as admirable as her thoughts are, it's a little too late for Battler because his metaverse self is currently taking on the witch too, so it really sucks either way. She overcame her sadness with the parental urge to protect the children. It seemed that both Kiria and Krause were strong enough to forget their grief, if only for the time being. They could let their tears flow later. For now, in order to protect the children, they had to act.
とにかくここを脱出しよう。相当古い牢屋のようだ。なんとか鉄格子を破れないだろうか。室内をくまなく探して、脱出手段を探してみよう。
ここにはガラクタがいろいろあるわ。何か役に立ちそうな道具とか落ちてないかしら。武器になるものがあるかもしれないし、鉄格子を破れるものがあるかもしれない。
Kiria pulled a lighter from her pocket. She herself didn't smoke, but she kept one tucked away in her pocket to light Rudolph's cigarettes. It was an extremely valuable source of light for searching through this dim dungeon.
シャノンはキリエさんを手伝い、室内を探索してくれ。カノンは私と一緒に鉄格子の具合を確かめてみよう。これだけ古い牢屋だ。ひょっとするとガタが来ているかもしれない。
私は何をお手伝いしましょうかな。
体力を温存していてください。やがてここに親父殿が現れるだろう。親父殿に言葉が届くのは南條先生だけです。ある意味、南條先生に我々の命は握られているかもしれない。
私の言葉などもう届きはせんでしょう。申し訳ないが、そのお役には立てそうにない。
なら、南條先生のお医者としての知識を貸してください。人間を即座に混沌させるような毒って存在するのかしら？
人間を即座に混沌させる毒？どういうことですか？
私たちは落とし穴に落とされて、この地下牢に落ちてきたと信じている。あの混乱している場で、私たちはそうだったろうと信じたわ。でも、この地下牢の広さを測ってみて分かった。この地下牢が、あの食堂の地下というのはありえないことなのよ。
どうしてありえないってわかるんですか？
姉さんはバカだな。この地下牢は、食堂に比べて狭すぎる。
その通り、1番目に落とされたのはクラウス兄さん。2番目が私。クラウス兄さんはこの部屋に落ちてきたとき、その場を動いたかしら。
お恥ずかしながら、落下の痛みでうめいていたよ。そのすぐ傍らにキリエさんが、すぐに落ちてきたんだ。
食堂でのクラウス兄さんと私の立ち位置と、落下時の 落下場所の距離が明らかにおかしいのよ。
確かに言われてみればその通りです。その次に落ちたのは私だから、お二人の位置関係はよく覚えている。食堂でのお二人の間の距離はこの部屋よりもあったかもしれない。
私たちは落とし穴に落ちてダイレクトにここに落下したわ。集合する下水道管みたいに一度集められてからここに落ちたわけじゃない。落下は一瞬だったでしょ。そんな凝った排水管みたいな穴を転がされた覚えはないわ。
確かに落とし穴では説明がつかんな。おかしな話だ。
それとキリエ様のおっしゃる人間を即座に混沌させる毒というのはどう関係があるんですか？
So what I'm gathering from this is that they think, or at least Kide is of the assumption that they drugged all of them, so that they can take them all the way to this unknown location of a dungeon instead of to have them believe that they fell through the dining hall or a pit of sorts. Okay, that's actually a little, I can see that.
キリエ様は多分食堂に落とし穴なんかなかった。
しかし現に私たちは落ちたぞ。
落とし穴に落ちたような気がするが正解よ。無理もないわ。そうとしか例えられない体験だったから。
なるほど。つまりこうおっしゃいたいわけですな。私たちは落とし穴に落とされたのではなく、例えば毒矢のようなもので撃たれ瞬時に意識を失い、その倒れて床に突っ伏す瞬間の記憶をまるで落とし穴に落ちたよと思い込んでしまっているのかもしれないと。
なるほど。
Well, okay, as believable as that is, how do you explain prior to getting knocked out, you witnessed everyone die through Kinzo's little assistance. So, I mean, that also comes into play as well, right?
食堂に無数の落とし穴が仕掛けられていて、我々がそれに何十年も気づかず食事をしていたとするよりは、よほど説得力のある話だ。
Excuse me, unless they were drugged from the beginning, but that also doesn't really make much sense either.
姉さん、時計はある？
うん。懐中時計があるわよ。22時40分くらいね。
僕の時計もそうなってる。つまり僕たちは食堂での大騒ぎから十数分も時間を経過させてないってことになる。
私の時計も同様だ。我々が混沌させられてどこかへ担ぎ込まれたと仮定するには、時間だけを見るならやはり我々は食堂の真下へ落とし穴で落とされたと考えるのが妥当だ。
時計の針なんていくらでもいじれるわ。私たちが気絶している間に全員の時計を巻き戻したのかもしれない。その可能性がなかったことは証明不能よ。
If you have tape, you can kind of figure it out.
落とし穴にせよ、混沌させる毒にせよ、私たちは用心するに越したことはないというわけですな。
それで南條先生、混沌させる毒は存在するんですか？
それは桐江さんの論法と同じですな。私の知らない未知の毒物にそういう効用のものがないとは証明できません。
用心に越したことはないということね。ごめんなさい。無駄な質問だったわ。ただ、私の仮説により、この地下牢が食堂の真下とは限らないという可能性は示唆できたと思
う。なるほど。広大な森の中のどこかに隠されていると噂される親父殿の 隠し屋敷の地下牢に運び込まれている可能性もある。と、ここを脱出して外へ出ればそれもわかる。それを詮索するのは、ここから出てからでもいいだろうな。
その通りね。本当にごめんなさい。さっきから無駄な質問と詮索ばかりだわ。
いや、とても頼もしいよ。今後も何かに気づいたら教えてくれたまえ。ここを脱出する何かのヒントになるかもしれない。ルドルフからいつも聞かされていたよ。君の発想にはいつも驚かされ、時には重要なヒントにもなるとね。君がここにいてくれたのは不幸中の幸いだ。
ありがとう。私もルドルフさんに聞いてるわ。クラウス兄さんは普段は威張っているけれど、いざという時は責任感にあふれる頼りがいのある兄だって。
さすがにそれは世辞が過ぎるね。くそ。それにしても頑丈な鉄格子だ。カノンの方はどうかね。
いいえ、こちらも全く。
See, now I would just say, why can't Kanon use his little magic blade? But I'm assuming because we're in reality and this isn't really how it's supposed to be. Well, I would say we're in reality, but technically this is Beatrice and Battler looking in on the fourth part of the game. So it can go either way. But if we're going with the idea that magic doesn't necessarily exist, then he can't use that power, which is very weird because they were just facing off against a woman, a new character that was able to create pitfalls. Kraus and Kanon tried wiggling each of the bars in various ways. There were a few bars that could be twisted, and a few felt like they had enough room to rattle around a little bit, but even so, they could not be broken with human strength alone. However, there was still hope if they could use some kind of lever-like tool. It was still far too early to give up yet. The children's lives were hanging in the balance. Even if there was no hope, they couldn't stop the struggle, and it was better even for them to act this way. If they were to stop, there was no doubt that they would once again be overcome by grief of losing their loved ones, and crouch down, clutching their knees.
Kirieさんたちの方はどうかね。何か見つかったかね。
握って隠せる程度の石ころは見つかるわ。こんなものでも武器にはなるかも。さすがに鉄格子を削り取ることは無理でしょうね。シャノンちゃんはどう？
いいえ、何も。あ、これ、電話です。
繋がってるわけもないわ。でも、コードは何かを縛ったり、武器にも使えるかも。壊して分解すれば、金属部品を取り出せるわ。クラス兄さん、鉄格子を開ける鍵穴は、もちろんあるわよね。
ああ、だいぶ鍵穴の大きい、大時代的なものだがね。針金のようなものでいじれば、騙せるかもしれないな。
電話の金属部品で何か代用できるかもしれない。その電話、武器になるわね。
投資と同じだよ。情報は武器だ。
Kraus and Kirie laughed together at this way of putting the phone to use, which didn't remotely look at it as a means of communication.
何やってんの、お姉さん。
その、電話、繋がってるかなって思って。
バカだな、姉さんは。
え、あれ？
Suddenly, Shannon let out a small surprised cry.
キリエ様！この電話、繋がってます。
なんですって？
It was like when people moved out of an office, taking everything with them, leaving only the telephone behind. That's the feeling the phone gave off, having been left in the corner of the cell. The cord was wound into a coil, one end of it being swallowed by the wall. And at a glance, it looked as if it could plausibly be connected. But to think that it actually was. Kitty took the receiver from Shannon and pressed it to her ear. The electric hum was certainly the one with which she was familiar. This phone was indeed live.
なんという幸運。警察へ連絡しましょう。
Alright guys, I'm going to end the video here for today. Thank you all for watching. When we come back, we're going to see how they plan to use this phone and put it to good use hopefully in the next one.